Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and once again, thy kingdom has come. Although it's a little strange, because we're taking a look at from the Transformers Kingdom line. This is Voyager class Cyclonus. Now, I say it's a little strange because I kind of feel that Cyclonus belongs in the Studio Series 86 line, and I'm actually kind of disappointed the figure is not there because we miss out on getting one of those really sweet backdrops. We could have had the companion backdrop that's, for Scourges, because Scourge comes with his where, he, Thundercracker is transforming into Scourge and the sweeps, and the Insecticons turn into sweeps, and then we could have had Cyclonuses. But you know what? We're going to get into that a bit more at the end of the video. Right now, we're looking at the figure in its futuristic jet mode, and I have to say, this is the best representation of this jet mode that Hasbro has put out. It's pretty much spot on to the animation model, but it doesn't have that core blockiness that the Combiner Wars version did. The colors are nice, perfect shades of lavender and purple. Now, I do want to point something out. I'm going to turn the jet so it's facing right towards the camera, and you see the little grooves right here. Now, some people feel that this should be sitting flush, but when you transform everything right, you do end up with that sticking out. Personally, having looked at the box and bits of the instructions, I think that's just a natural form of detailing that they have there. But if I'm wrong, who knows? But for most people who've had this figure, this is how it's come out. Other than that, you do have the weapon storage here at the top. Nice representation of Cyclonus's blaster before it became a Target Master. Right there. Pretty much molded in purple or lavender and then painted in this great silver. We'll put that off to the side for now. And other than that, taking a quick look at the rear, you have the thrusters here. And these parts right here become the hands, and I want to point them out. You do have like the 5mm post. So, going along with my gut feeling, instinct, whatever, that Cyclonus is going to be repainted, reconfigured to include its Target Master, and maybe like a Comic-Con or some sort of set with the other Studio Series Transformers the movie robots that became Target Masters. You can actually, in this regard, if depending on how they make the Target Master, have Cyclonus use it in the Japanese style, animation style, where the weapon actually pegged into the forearm. That was something, if you saw Headmasters, that they did. So, other than that, let's pause, and we'll get into the transformation. All right, just adjust the camera, gave us a little more space. Start things off, we're going from jet to robot. You want to come in underneath and fold up the landing gear. There's one right here on the nose cone, and two right here on the inner leg that just folds up. Now, I do want to mention on mine copy of Cyclonus, most of the joints are very tight. We will see this when we get into the leg transformation, and there is a lot of interesting and cool stuff going on here. The next, start off the transformation proper. You want to come into the side here and unpeg what will be the arms and shoulders from the rear fuselage and rotate that down. Do it again on this side, and it pegs in very securely. Very happy about that. Next, what you want to do is just come in and fold up these wing sections. They're on a double joint, so I recommend for this part getting them up and out of the way on both joints, because you're going to need that space, because what you're going to do now is come around the back, bend the rear section down slightly. It's basically the leg, so you have that hip joint, and you're going to rotate this whole section around just like so. Next, what we're going to do is you're going to come in and open up what will be the chest of robot mode and open up the back section here, and bring it down. And just make sure that you give yourself enough room with these the shoulder chest bits that the arms can fold around the sides of the legs there, so it'll open up fine. And now we're going to do one of the cool bits of the transformation, and that's going to start folding up the nose cone. So first you're going to open up this top bit, come in here, fold up the nose cone there, close that back up, come in underneath, and then what we're going to do then is, again, fold up the, open up the nose cone, the next section, and then this section will accordion in. And as you do that, make sure you don't knock the landing gear out. Close that up. And once that's done, rotate the section down and around, revealing Cyclonus's head. And let me bring the camera up ever so slightly. And we're going to have some fun with that head in a minute. Close up the chest panel here. The channel. Ooh, chest panel. Ooh. And close up the back panel right here. Panel? Nah, it doesn't work as nicely. And then what you're going to do is, using these double hinge joints, bring the wings around and peg them into the chest, just like so. What I would now recommend doing is angling them out on the arm joint, because now we're going to work on the legs. So the first thing you want to do is come in and separate the legs from the back. Next, what you want to do is come in underneath here, flip up the rear booster section right there, and then continue to open up the panel, just like so. Come in, flip the foot out, and bring it down all the way so it angles forward just a little, just like so. Fold this section in and fold it back down, so it basically fills in the gap in the leg quite nicely, and bring the feet back so they're a little flush. Now we're going to get into the leg transformation, and the instructions really aren't that clear on it, but basically what you're going to do now is just fold it out. There is a double joint, and some of the promotional pics actually showed Cyclonus's leg being all the way up like this, and thus being hollow down in the knee. The figure comes in package with its leg forward like this, basically giving you a less than 90-degree joint bend at the knee. Now that's the right leg facing, left leg with the figure back to you. This leg is a little bit of a problem for me. Going from vehicle mode isn't too bad, but getting it into vehicle mode proves a bit challenging. And what ends up happening is I have the knee cover here split. There's no glue. There's no pins or anything. It's almost as if it's supposed to do that as a little bit of a help to get it done. But yeah, just be aware that if you have that problem, you're just basically supposed to just push the leg straight down. And in doing so, trying to even massage it gently, it does end up, sticking a little. And, it just, over time you can work it around, but just getting it up like that. It would have been nice to have a little bit maybe of an opening gimmick, but this actually isn't that bad. And it does give us that nice lower leg transformation with the feet folding up and the boosters folding out. Let's bring the arms down to a neutral position. What you'll do now is come into the wings here, and this section will rotate and fold up on the back. And what you'll do now, and I'll show you from holding it this way, is unpeg the wing from the forearm, and again, a double hinge. You're going to accordion it back, and it will kind of friction into a groove on the back of the arm. Do the same on this side. Ooh. And if you saw that the shoulder just popped up, these joints are very tight. And as I always say, I'd rather have a tight joint than a loose joint. So we're just about done. Take the forearm, rotate it forward, flip up the thruster section, rotate the fist out. It can only rotate one way due to the molding of this whole flap section here. So that's kind of nice to have. And just go down. And there we go. There we have Cyclonus in its robot mode. And I have to say, I am like greatly impressed with this figure. As I've said before, it truly is the best version of Cyclonus we've gotten. Again, we don't have a masterpiece version. I'm just fiddling with the feet here. We do have a little bit of rocker joints there. We don't have a masterpiece version, and if we were, I don't know how they would do this better. As you can see, hopefully that's coming off. You got some great light piping there in the head. And the best part about this head is you have a ball joint right at the top, but you have a neck joint. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can do a little giggity giggity, giggity goo, giggity giggity, giggity goo. I love it. Other than that, the armpit joints are very nice as you have some sculpted detail to cover up there as the arms go out. Other than that, you got a bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, universal joint at the hip. We already talked about the bend at the knee. I guess you can sort of fiddle with the joint to get more of a deeper bend if you so desire, but you have it again on this side. And again, very tight joints, something I don't mind at all, but some of you might, and you do of course have a thigh cut right there. There is a waist rotation, which is nice, but yeah. So and of course Cyclonus can hold its blaster, and this is something really cool. Pay attention as I put this in. The gun is molded in such a way to fit into the curve of that panel part. That's really cool, and that really is like an attention to detail I am like thrilled that Hasbro did. So yeah, this figure is going to definitely be a part of my Studio Series 86 line, as I felt this is where it was originally supposed to go. It was just, you know, they wanted to do Beast, so they needed some space and stuff like that, but definitely a great figure. So we'll pause, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. So if you can't tell, again, Cyclonus, absolutely love the figure. The light piping is great. There's even, I forgot to mention, there's even a nice little bit of light piping here in the belly. Just the paint, the coloring, with some of the darker purple, there's a little bit of sparkle. This is just a fantastic looking figure. The transformation is simple, but it's simple but involved. And what I mean by that is there's like a lot of steps, but the steps are easy to follow. The parts move the way they're supposed to. The hardest part really is just collapsing and extending the legs. And I guess that will become easier over time. Highly recommend the figure, although I do have to point out that as of this recording, I've been informed that Amazon is deciding to sell Cyclonus for $50. That is not a third-party seller. That is Amazon.com itself selling the figure, shipped and sold by them, $50. Apparently, that has to do with their pricing algorithms, and, arguing with them really doesn't help. So do not pay $50 for this figure. It is at retail now. I think it's actually nearing, Wave 1 of Kingdom is getting close to nearing saturation at most brick and mortar retail. Not any of mine, but hey. I got this figure actually from the Commander store in Champlain, New York. As I've been mentioning in some of my more recent reviews, they have an eBay presence, but they also have a website, and I recommend using the website just because I wasn't sure when Amazon was going to fulfill my pre-order. But yeah, definitely worth having in your collection. And if you're doing the Studio Series 86 line, you gotta have Cyclonus. He was a major part of that film and a major part of the season 3 cast. So with that said, that's about it in terms of for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views and taking the time to watch my videos, the liking, commenting, and subscribing speaks to YouTube on its primitive algorithmic scale and language, and tells them that this channel is one that should be exalted and held upon high. If you really want to make the ultimate sign of support for this channel, please consider joining my Patreon. www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. Link in the description below, card right here in the corner. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All I ask is $1 a month, $12 a year, and it helps me to help you, continue bringing figures like Cyclonus to you, as well as keeping up the overall infrastructure of the channel. But as always, if $12 a year is a little much for you, and believe me, with the way things are, I can completely understand that, watching my videos is support enough. So with that being said, this is your old pal Chuck, and this is for Cyclonus, this is the end portion of the review, but now I have a little bit of a rant. So if you don't want to hear it, you can stop watching. Recently, with the release of Cyclonus and Scourge, the debate has started again online as to which of the original season 1 and 2 Decepticons became Cyclonus, became Scourge. It's universally accepted that Thundercracker became Scourge, which makes sense. Going by the characterization of Thundercracker from season 1 and 2, as well as the characterization from the toy bio, not talking the comics, strictly talking the animated and media and the toy bio, Thundercracker was a character that wasn't fully committed to the Decepticon cause, and as we often saw in the cartoon, really was not thrilled with the way Megatron did things. It makes sense that Thundercracker would become Scourge, because Scourge, while being a competent tracker, was always a more passive and less forceful commander than, say, Cyclonus and definitely Galvatron. The debate really centers around, did Bombshell or Skywarp become Cyclonus? And let me address that now. Number one thing that has to be remembered is the animation studio that worked on Transformers the movie, I think it was called ACOM. They also went on to work on season 3 and were responsible for most of the animation errors in the entirety of the Transformers series, but especially in season 3. While many people feel that, well, they wouldn't make mistakes in a major Hollywood blockbuster film, Transformers the movie did not have the budget of even close to any of the other summer films released in 1986. So yes, it is very possible they could make an animation mistake. For example, having Bombshell's transformation start and finish before Skywarp's transformation or reformatting. Again, going to the characterization of season 1 and 2 and the toy bio, Skywarp was always shown as a much more dedicated Decepticon. In the cartoon, Skywarp was often given special missions using his warping abilities and stuff like that. He was a trusted lieutenant to Megatron, and I would say was right behind Starscream in terms of the rankings of the Seekers. Yes, there technically was only about 6, but it is what it is. With that being said, it makes much more sense that Cyclonus, who is Galvatron's lieutenant and second in command, would be a loyal Decepticon like Skywarp, and not Bombshell, who really didn't have that much of a leadership role in the cartoon. We did see Bombshell have some characterization using in a scientific role during the revival of Jetfire and the converting of Ninjak and programming her to be a Decepticon. But the biggest tell that Cyclonus is Skywarp is there is an episode in season 3 where the Decepticons find on Cybertron an old memorium area to fallen Decepticons. And one of the statues happens to be Skywarp. And you have a moment, a scene of animation, where Cyclonus is standing there looking up at the statue with a knowing look on its face. So that, to me, with everything else, just completely and totally shows that Skywarp was reformatted into Cyclonus, not the Armada. Case closed. I know a lot of younger fans, and I know even fans my age, debate it and argue it and go strictly by what's going on in the animation during the reformatting scene. But I think with the evidence I just presented, it is conclusively clear, it is conclusive that Cyclonus is Skywarp. Of course, it doesn't help that in their bio and online info packet, they kind of make fun of the debate. Hasbro makes fun of the debate by saying it's Skywarp, Bombshell, whoever. But this is just something that's really grinding my gears lately because, you think it's done and it comes up again. And, at the end of the day, yes, I know it's small potatoes, but that's it. So thank you all so much for watching this part, and have a good day.